Well, I got the bed all cut up and screwed together pretty much. At least it's not a big ugly hole anymore. I'm gonna clean up the rest of this. Mount that tank a little better. I can cut a piece of plexiglass there for my window. A friend of mine gave me this lighted bird wings. I've got the running lights on, but it's got a light in there. I don't have a light in it, but I'll put one in it. Glue that on there and bolt it. And I put one seat cover on it, kinda. Looks a little better than it did. I'll put the other one on and try to cinch them down a little bit. And really all I got to do now is clean up these floorboards. I think I just need a couple bolts. Get my wiring up. I need to mount an oil gauge. And I need a temperature sending unit. I don't think I'll order one of them. And not a whole lot more. Change the brakes and this thing will be ready to sell. Well, I'm pushing forward on the Dodge. I have made me a bracket here out of 1/8" plate, and I cut it where to fit this kickdown cable, and made me a little thing here. Put my return spring on there, so that all looks good. And at full throttle, it's holding that kick down all the way forward, so I think that's going to be good enough for that. So this was a little bit of doing this. I got my transmission cooler lines away from the exhaust. I got another bolt in the header. I filled it up with water and put a cap on it. I know that automatic fan and stuff works. Might have a fuse out or something. I had this speedometer cable and original temperature sending unit board on tube. I don't know if it's any good, probably not. But I got them down, or took them out at the bottom and just zip tied them up here out of the way. So that cleaned that up pretty good. And so I gotta ground my flasher there. I don't know what I'll do about a transmission tunnel. I need to do a little something there with that throttle pedal. As you can see, I got quite a bit of slack in it. I think I've gotten an adjustment on there still. And screw the bed together. I'm not sure what I'll do about this tailgate. Probably just put a bolt in it. Put the top of my battery box on. Clean up all this junk. I still need to cut some kind of a window up there. But this thing just about ready to put it out there on the highway for sale. Well, I got this all sorted out. shortened up the cable, and which raised up my throttle, and I got that plate all screwed down real good, bolted. I need to put a couple bolts in that one over there, but we're all good here. I'm not gonna worry about the height of the brake pedal and the gas pedal at this point. I got them up where they're about the same height off the floor, and this panel is super strong. It's not flexing at all. Gas goes right to the floor, and I'm getting full throttle up there. Kick down's working, so we're all good here. Well, you might get a laugh at this. This guy gave me this Swan with the lighted wings. It was all apart, so what I did, I glued them together with some semi-clear glue, and I put a piece of plexiglass in there and glued that all solid, and this bolt end was broken off here, but it had the piece, so I used some JB weld on that, and I put a bolt in it with a lot of WD-40 on it. So I'm not hoping that this will be the end all, but where I've got this little Swisher Sweet thing here, it's just shiny plastic. I got some JB weld in there, and I'm trying to make me a mounting surface. And either bolt will go in one hole or the other. I'll have to drill one hole in here. I'll probably mount it on this kind of fancy shape and put another hole back here, but it looks real good. And I've got here's my light wires. I'm pretty sure there's a tail light in here somewhere, so it wouldn't be any trouble to wire this thing. It looks like I maybe got it traded. I think it's a 70 Roadrunner, runs and drives. A transmission dropped a gear. Pretty nice shape. And the other one I think is a 65 or something, Fury 3 or Fury 2 Belvedere, and I used to have one like that when I got out of the Army. I really liked that, but that Roadrunner is probably worth, oh, I don't know, it's worth at least $20,000. It depends. I had a buddy of mine pay $10,000 for just a rusted out hunk of junk. But this thing's coming along. I'll get my bird finished over there, and I'll have a lighted ornament. I got me a round light there for a dome light. I'm not going to hook up the horn, though that would be kind of a neat little thing to do. I could just leave the compressor back here. At least at a honk, I think if I, but the guy wants to cruise it, so anyway, it looks like a Roadrunner and a Fury and $5,000 cash. So $5,000 cash is what I need out of this. The two other projects I'd like to keep that Fury. It'd be a nice little daily driver. I'll sell that thing. It carries stuff, but I'd like to have the Fury. Who knows, I might make this a daily driver. I worked on this a little more. I got my insulation kind of laid in here in the front of the thing. Turned out this thing was shifting bad, just wouldn't take off. Turned out that there was a little tiny spring supposed to go on the kick down lever to hold it forward, and I adjusted my kick down. I thought, well, I'll tighten up the kick down, that'll increase the pressure. Oh man, it wouldn't shift at all. And once it got a little warm, I got over there and it just sounded like the clutch was just slipping. Anyway, I pulled it back the 1/4 inch that I put it forward, and it took off good. And I burned out here just I don't know, 10-15 times. It's holding first gear real good, so maybe that'll fix this. Anyway, my little bird here, kind of interesting tidbit. I want to make it look real nice for the guy, so he'll want to trade. He wants to go cruising this right after the 4th. So did I start putting this I've got some plastic trim goes around these lights. I had to cut the front off. But anyway, this thing's coming along. I didn't get the brakes on it. I worked on a 34 Ford today, putting windows together. I'll show you that tomorrow. But anyway, just moving along here on all these projects and seeing what we can get done. Well, I got working on the Chrysler. I got a pan gasket today. And anyway, I dropped the pan, and it's just full of junk right here. I think part of it is when I went to that show, I think I dented my pan. This looks like it's up pretty close to the oil filter, but there's still a lot of crud here, and you can't really see right here, but there was a lot in it. But this was in the pan, and it's broke and bent. So that was what was causing it not to have any power. And I got this other 727 here, and I pulled it apart, and this front band is the one that takes this strut. Now I'm not sure if this strut goes in here to the back of this. I pulled the adjuster bolt out, but I can't get to that little rod right now. I do remember something about there was one of these struts here, but I think, I don't see a hole or a groove here, but I got a feeling that that's where it goes. And if it broke off of there, the valve body's sitting right on top of here, so this piece is probably just laying right on top of the valve body somewhere. So I got to pull the valve body off. Got this one off. Been out here in the water, didn't do it any good, but I'm hoping that it's this one here, because it's the easiest to get out. I did, when I replaced this seal pack and stuff when I first rebuilt that transmission. There was a one back in here, and it was kind of hard to get in. I don't know. I'm hoping that this is front one and not the back one. But at any rate, without that in there, it's not letting the I forget which servo it is. I think this is my second and third. It's not letting it apply right. Well, it's not letting it apply at all. I'm not sure what it does. But anyway, I'll pull the valve body on that other one and see if this is still good. If it is, then I know there's one that goes in here somehow that hooks into this rear band. I'll find out here in a while. I'll pull that valve body off of that other transmission and we'll see what it looks like. Well, that's what it was. It's I just moved it. The arm was just hanging down and on that rear band, and I pushed it up and it just fell right out. You can tell there that you know, this got quite a bit of bending before it finally snapped. So I don't know if that was just a faulty piece or something wrong in the transmission that would do it. But the other day, whenever I was testing it, you know, it made it kind of a sound. So I think that's what was happening. Is I don't think that was dragging on something. I think the valve was fluttering. Anyway, I'll get that other piece out of there and see how close it matches to this one. Well, I went in my old big block transmission here, and I was able to get that strut rod out of here, and it was the same, so I went ahead and put it in. Yeah, this just no activation at all, and I put it in the car and changed the filter and oil and stuff, and it shifts fine now, but it didn't change anything about the taking off. I went down, and this when I had it up, this tire was, when I had it jacked up and I had the valve body in it, changing that, I had both wheels off the ground, and I tested it, and this wheel was spinning easier, and so it shifted through all the gears, but probably about 40 miles an hour, this thing just shook really bad. I took it down to the tire store, and they were going to balance it for me, but you can't really tell here, but this tire separated, the tread separated all the way around. Didn't have the money, but got to have another tire, so I bought another tire just like this one. So we'll see what how this goes. I mean, if it ain't gonna gonna drive. Tires are kind of the least of my problems, but I for sure don't want to blow this off. These were both cheap tires. They didn't match anyway. The other one leaked real bad, and this one separated. But they were good enough to get me running and up to this point. Don't have the light on right now. I can probably fix that. There we go. So I masked off my window and the center part of my dash. You can see there it's not painted. And I painted all the rest of the inside of this. That semi-gloss, so it should look pretty good. And as I hit this old rusty thing, I need to put a couple screws in it. I just use metal self-tappers for now. But got the interior painted. I'll clean up my wires there. Make sure everything's drivable. And clean up all this stuff. This is that one decal I put on. I went around here to the other fender, put the same thing on it. I've got that one post there. I think what I'm going to do is put 4 posts in here in the board and just put me a wood stake bed on it, and that'll give me a foot deep bed here. And this place here is really good for like a fuel tank or something, but it's all cleaned up and closed up. And today's Saturday. Missed a big rat rod show, but trying to get this thing done ready for that trade. Well, I did a little more work on the Dodge. I wired up my running lights, and there's my Mr. Swan. He's pretty bright. And I got the running lights on the cab. So looks pretty good in the dark. Getting closer. Now I kind of moved on the Dodge here. What I did was put a 2x6 as bed. I had it up about an inch and a half. It was up at the top of this thing here, but it looked kind of stupid with that gap, so I just dropped it down level with the floorboard, or with the bed rail. I think I raised it up about an inch. And this is some kind of red stain that I had. It don't look too bad. I put the front one on, another side one, but I think I need a much darker stain for this black, or I could paint it black. Might be better to paint it, but anyway, it's on. And my little set of Chinese gauge. Here's the bed done. I ran out of stain, but it actually looks pretty good on here. I ought to clean up the wood, and if all the wood and everything was the same, it would be much better. but got both side pieces on. It's real strong. I got my little chain board and stuck through here, but kind of gives it a nice look. It's obviously rough, but you could imagine what it would look like with nice wood. But it's pretty good. It's right at the bottom of that belt line on the hood, or on the trunk, out the back of the cab. So I got a little bit of bolting to do on this back fender, right there on the running board. I got to put my choke cable back in. I put some gauges up in here. It's kind of dark in there, you can't really see them, but they're oil, water, and voltage. So that's all good. I put it through the center of the dash. So I got to hook my choke cable back up and screw in that water temperature sending unit. This will be done.